Today is the 17th regular meeting of the Lake County Board of Commissioners. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Dear God, please bless our meeting today. May our discussions be fruitful, our decisions wise, and our community strong. Amen. Amen. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Hamercheck. Commissioner Regovich.
Here.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Present. Next on the agenda, we have public portion, but we're going to start with a special introduction for our Public Service Coordinator for Lake County Department of Utilities, Mr. Patrick Stitz, who will speak on behalf of our employee, Mr. Damian Sherwood.
Good morning, Commissioners. As you stated, I'm Patrick. I work for the Department of Utilities as a Public Service Coordinator. I come here today to present a short story and our gratitude and appreciation for one of our employees, Damian here. Damian works at our East End Service Center in our Water Department. I'm going to read to you a couple, basically a paraphrasing what a customer sent in to our department about a situation that Damian was a part of. The customer stated the following: I am the father and a grandfather, and I have lived, worked, and ran a family business in Lake County most of my life. On Friday, April 12th at 1:30 p.m., I was traveling from Geneva to Mentor via State Route 20 after I picked up my two grandchildren from preschool. I was having some trouble with my Ford F-250 as it was making a grinding noise. As I got into Lake County, I had to pull over the New Sheets gas station on Route 20 in Madison because the truck was overheating, I thought. As I pulled in, one of the utility trucks pulled up, and the driver asked if I was okay. I said, yes, I'm good, not knowing what he was talking about. He got out of the truck, and this time asked if I needed any help, and I said, no, I think I should be good. Just then, he gets the fire extinguisher out of the truck and said, calmly pop your hood, but don't open it as there's a fire. And I replied, what fire? It turns out the idler pulley went bad for the serpentine belt and caused metal on metal under the hood and started a small fire. The worker said, pop your hood, but don't open it, as he stuck the hose in and extinguished a small engine fire that started that I wasn't aware of. I asked him why not open the hood all the way, and he said it would have given it too much fresh air and it could have excelled the fire and became a serious problem. I'm truly proud and happy to have employees working for you in your utilities department and the people of Lake County. I can't tell you enough, people just don't care like this anymore. He didn't have to stop and ask if I was okay. I got his name as he left, and it was Damian Sherwood. I just wanted to say that if we stayed in the truck, maybe the outcome would have not been so good. He was so nice as we went into Sheets and got both my granddaughters a sucker, shook my hand, and said, glad I could help, and away he went. Just wanted to send a message thanking you and letting you know what a blessing he was that day. I'm here today on behalf of Lake County Department of Utilities, and I too want to thank Mr. Sherwood for going above and beyond when he observed something wrong. He acted calmly and courageously, diffusing a potentially dangerous situation. Damian, we as a department thank you for being a public servant in more ways than one. I personally called Damian the other day and talked about this event, and he mentioned multiple times that he didn't want the recognition for it. He was just doing what he would normally do. I think this shows Damian's character as a true public servant. And again, we just appreciate your service.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. That's it.
You're good.
So
It's not it.
let me just say, on behalf of the Board of County Commissioners, we're very grateful that you took care of your neighbor, that you didn't just keep driving down the road and ignored someone else's problem. You made it your concern, and you may have saved a life, because you know as well as I do that if that fire continued and there was an explosion, anything could have happened, particularly if that person was back out on the road. Yeah. So thank God for you. Thank God for what you did. And as a small token of our gratitude for your great work and your care and concern for your neighbor, we want to present you with a proclamation from the commissioners. So if you would come forward.
Yeah, stand by for the indignity of the photo. Thanks, guys.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And he's out the door, ladies and gentlemen.
So now we're returning to regular public comment. Any member of the public who wishes to address the Board of Commissioners can step forward, and after stating your name and address, you have 3 minutes.
Good morning. I'm Margaret Bushman, 5359 Ford Road, Madison, Ohio. Just to remind everyone that Ford Road has been closed for 608 days and 10 minutes. I'd say, who's counting? But we are counting. It's been a terribly, terribly long time to be without the services that we as taxpayers deserve. And that while there is some progress, I think, being made on Ford Road, it just can't happen soon enough. And I want to thank you guys for finally appropriating the money so these repairs can be made. And I understand that Payne Road progress is going along well, and I hope that continues. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
See if I can take my glasses. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Good. Yeah, my name is Leonard Gilbert, and I'm a resident of 6812 Glencairn Court in Mentor, Ohio. I wanted to speak to you this morning about the ever-increasing property taxes and the reality of what is unfolding as we continue on this path. We've gathered information to support our concern for the negative impact that is expected from the sexennial tax reappraisals. There will be artificial increases across the board that will result in property values increasing 30% on average. In some counties, there have been documented cases where the increase in value is up to 50%. In reality, they will be paying taxes on unrealized gains. This is not sustainable or acceptable. Not only is this hurting people on fixed income, but it also negatively impacts potential first-time home buyers. I'm leading an initiative along with some other Christians and patriots to eliminate the property tax. But this is not to say that I'm not willing to pay taxes. It is only reasonable for individuals to pay taxes for essential services that are provided by the local entity. The idea is to change the mechanism so that it's not tied to the owner's property. We're not looking at this not only from a financial perspective, but also from a biblical perspective. For those of you who identify as Christians, I hope you are blessed to hear the words that are spoken. The statement is very simple. Any tax, if unpaid, causes a citizen to become homeless is immoral. At the moment, we're not true owners of our property. We're merely leasing from the government. And if anyone doesn't pay their taxes for 3 consecutive payments, they'll quickly find out who owns their home. It should also be noted that the lack of ownership destroys the rights of inheritance, which negatively impacts the transfer of wealth by hampering the ability to work toward economic prosperity, and it also is a direct attack on the family. By continuing to support such a system, there will be inevitable consequences because we are in direct violation of the following commandments. First of all, we're breaking the 8th commandment that states that you should not steal. It is clearly in Scripture that the land was given to families so that they can enjoy and develop it for future generations. So if they were taxed on the property that they own, that would be outright theft. With that in mind, it is also a tax that is illegitimate. In addition to theft, we're breaking the 9th commandment, which forbids bearing false witness by lying to someone, by giving them the impression that they own it, and we're taking money for the public good. And just because it is legal, it doesn't make it right. And it also violates the 10th commandment, which forbids coveting, and this is the desire to take someone's property. Now, we know that trying to eliminate the property tax is going to be a heavy lift. However, we believe that it's important enough to educate the younger generation on how they have been and are being deceived by the use of the property taxes. As we work toward our goals, we're asking the commissioners to find ways to provide some immediate tax relief. This may include, but not limited to, reducing existing inside millage collections and foregoing future tax windfalls. Those actions will help set the stage for the long-term goal of elimination of the property tax. My colleague and I will be more than happy to work with the commissioner or the other local county officials as needed to help work toward providing immediate relief to the taxpayers. Thank you for the opportunity to speak, and I look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Brian Massey, average citizen, 8196 Rainbow Drive, on behalf of Lobbyists for Citizens. We have two issues that need to be exposed for the citizens of Lake County. The first is Auburn Career Center. I've spoken about it before, but after continually losing their arguments in the courts, yet again they have filed 8 motions with Lake County courts challenging the previous rulings by the court. The administration, led by Dr. Bontempo and his Board of Trustees, continue to waste Lake County taxpayers' money with these frivolous lawsuits. We have heard that there is at least one board member that has the courage and the moral code of ethics to do what is right when confronted by the facts. We will report to the citizens of Lake County when our public records request submitted today to the Auburn administration is fulfilled. Unfortunately, the Lake County taxpayers, there's no one to whom we can petition for redress of our grievances. Malfeasance seems to be the order of day at Auburn. It appears that Auburn has a free rein just to take our property taxes without being accountable for their actions. The second issue deals with Lakeland Community College. We received the 110-page performance audit report from the state auditor on Lakeland Community College. Upon reading the report, there was obvious problem that has been occurring for years, and no one has said anything. On page 5 of the report, the auditor provides an organizational chart that clearly shows the college is governed by a board of trustees. The president of the college reports to the board. 3 board members are appointed by the governor and 6 are appointed by Lake County commissioners. On page 11 of the report, the auditor explains the measurement that the state uses to determine the financial strength of the community colleges. It's called SB6 score. On page 12, the auditor provides a graph that shows Lakeland's SB score versus the average community college and what the auditor determines to be a fiscal watch from 2015 through 2022. Not once during that period did Lakeland come close to the overall averages of other community colleges and have been close to the fiscal watch since 2019. What is disconcerting to Lobbyists for Citizens that in 7 years, not one public official informed the public that Lakeland was in severe financial difficulty. Not one board member had the courage and moral strength to publicly warn the taxpayers. During the Lakeland board meetings all that I heard was that the cornerstone of Lakeland was the Marxist philosophy of diversity, inclusion, and equity. The Lake County Board of Commissioners also bears some of the blame in this debacle. It appears that the commissioners appointed the trustees and thought that their job was complete. You did not remind your appointees that they are in charge, and they do not report to the president. Unfortunately, the Lake County taxpayers, again, have no one to whom we can petition for redress of our grievances. According to Schedule A, the Lake County Auditor, Lakeland has 3 property tax levies that are generating $20 million per year. One is continuous, meaning forever. One expires in 2031, and the other in 2041. As you can see, we can't even stop the payment of this immoral property taxes. As my Christian brother Leonard Gilbert said, any tax that, if unpaid, causes a citizen to become homeless is immoral. We're being priced out of our homes, and when we see gross malfeasance in education, there is nothing we can do about it, and it appears no one cares. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Massey. Anyone else?
Chris Bahari, 185 West Jackson here in Painesville. I just want to say a special greeting and thanks to the United Nations. This is the anniversary of their writing of their charter, and that charter is for everyone in the world, that the nations could come together. And I just ask for a moment of silence because of all the problems and wars and disgruntled actions of many nations to each other. And I'm really asking that if the Heavenly Parent can come and bring a new idea to the United Nations, an idea that it could have a second house, like we have two houses in our government, to have two houses in the United Nations, one of the nation and its authorities, and another for religious activities, that all religions can be represented, and that it could be like the spirit and the body. And then truly we have a world that can be healthy. And this is in recognition of the United Nations and its mission. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
John Music, 45 Coventry Drive. I just want to put a thank you out to our sheriff. I don't know if you've seen that this week. I mean, just recently, Director Ray, of the Director of FBI, put out another alert for what's going on in our country, and they're being very careful and observant right now, and there's depending more and more on local law enforcement. Just like our sheriff has said in previous meetings, and I'm paraphrasing, he has said, if you see something, say something. And he said law enforcement cannot be everywhere all of the time. So the thing about it is, as we all remember, well, maybe not, back in 1775, when Patrick Henry gave his famous speech at St. John's Church in Richmond, Virginia, and he was a delegate for Hanover County. And he said, and the northern colonies had already pretty much have signed in to mobilize against England, but the southern colonies had not. And Colonel Washington back then sent him a letter saying that, Patrick Henry had spoke in various places, and he asked him to speak at the legislature. And he said, because if we can get Virginia to come in, the rest of the southern colonies probably will come in and mobilize to fight England. And in his speech, he said, not only will the brave fight for our country, but also the vigilant, the active, and the brave. So I'm just asking everybody, just sort of keep your eyes on, not trying to scare anybody, but in my opinion, our country's in trouble right now. So just be vigilant and be active and give them a call. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else? Anyone else? Hearing none, we will move to resolutions. Madam Clerk.
In special resolutions, resolution proclaiming April 28, 2024 as Workers' Memorial Day in Lake County, Ohio.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? I believe we have Ms. Kayla Flowers, industrial hygienist from the U.S. Department of Labor, present to speak on this.
Good morning. Every year on April 28th, we commemorate Workers' Memorial Day, where we remember and honor all working men and women who lost their lives on the job. Although there's been great progress in worker safety over the last 54 years, too many people continue to lose their lives at work. In 2022, 5,486 workers lost their lives. This means that a worker loses their life at work in the United States every 96 minutes. We mourn not only for those we've lost, but also for those left behind, including their families, co-workers, and communities. So many of these tragic losses were preventable if safety standards had been followed, proper controls were in place, or if better safety and health programs were made a priority. It is in their memory that we continue to fight for every worker's right so that others don't suffer the same terrible fate. We owe it to the fallen workers, we owe it to their families, we owe it to the men and women working today all across the nation, and we owe it to future generations. People value safety and health for themselves and their families. It really is, and should be, a fundamental value to people everywhere. At OSHA, we want to see every business make health and safety a core value. Today, we want to thank Lake County Commissioners and the Lake County community for supporting this goal, for recognizing Workers' Memorial Day, and for prioritizing workplace health and safety. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ms. Flowers, we do have a proclamation from the Lake County Board of Commissioners to present you if you'd step forward.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here today. Thank you for all your
Mr. President, if I may offer a comment.
Mr. Commissioner.
Thank you, though, for pursuing the recognition for those who have passed because of on-the-job injuries. I hate to say it, but I think it bears commenting. A lot of employers have a practice of it's just simpler if they die because people forget, move on. You pay the fines and you move on. Keep it as an ever-present reminder. Because a lot of times somebody who does live, they live with a life of pain, dysfunction. It affects them, their families, but also remembering those who are lost. This is very important on a number of levels, but keep this in front, keep awareness, and thank you for this effort. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Hammercheck,
Yes.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Resolution proclaiming May 2024 Motorcycle Awareness Month in Lake County, Ohio.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Then I would just say, I know that Mr. Vernon Hall from the V-Twin Cruisers Motorcycle Club is present to accept a proclamation. We also want to extend special thanks to Mayor Dave Spotten of Eastlake. He's not able to join us, but for many years he's directed the Motorcycle Ohio Safety Awareness Program at Lakeland Community College. And so we thank him for decades of service to make the road a little bit safer for those on two wheels. So with that, I would just ask Mr. Vernon Hall to come forward so that we can present him with the proclamation officially declaring May Motorcycle Awareness Month in Lake County. Thank you so much for being here. Gotta move a little over this side, I guess. Gotta obey the photographer. Be safe out there.
Yes, they are. Thank you for everything.
Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Hammercheck,
Yes.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
In the Engineer's Office, resolution awarding a bid contract to Cole Burton Contractors LLC for the Lake County Resurfacing Project 2024 as required by the Lake County Engineer in the amount of $1,443,443.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Hammercheck,
Yes.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
In the Utilities Department, resolution increasing appropriations and transferring cash within Lake County Department of Utilities Solid Waste Fund and Project Fund 597, Solid Waste Facility Wheel Wash Project 481L 2024.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Hammercheck,
Yes.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Resolution approving final estimate number 6, release of retainage in the amount of $94,826.56 with Fabrizi Trucking and Paving Company Incorporated, and accepting a 3-year maintenance bond in the amount of $236,819.80 for Vine Street Waterline Replacement Phase 2, Project 447W 2021 for the Lake County Department of Utilities.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Pletcher.
Yes.
Resolution authorizing execution of an engineering agreement with Stephen Hovansik and Associates Incorporated for the Glenview and Tarbell Waterline Replacement Project 477W 2024 for the Lake County Department of Utilities.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Pletcher.
Yes.
Resolution approving plans, specifications, and estimates of cost in the amount of $214,500 for Hartford Road Waterline Extension Part A in the city of Eastlake, job number 23-54.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Pletcher.
Yes.
In the Commissioner's Office, resolution appointing various members to the Local Corrections Planning Board.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Pletcher.
Yes.
Resolution revising the authority of the county administrator to contract on behalf of the Board of County Commissioners within certain limits.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Pletcher.
Yes.
Resolution awarding a bid contract in the amount of $158,428.03 to Grade Line Incorporated for the Wintergreen Hills Storm Sewer Crossovers Project and Ditch Improvement in Painesville Township, Ohio.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Pletcher.
Yes.
Resolution authorizing execution of memorandums of understanding between the Lake County Board of Commissioners on behalf of the Lake County Stormwater Management Department and the City of Kirtland for various stormwater projects within the city.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Pletcher.
Yes.
In the Finance Department, resolution approving payment of bills as listed on the Commissioner's Approval Journal in the amount of $3,147,781.26.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Pletcher.
Yes.
Resolution approving purchase orders as listed on the Commissioner's Purchase Order Approval Journal in the amount of $625,344.73.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Pletcher.
Yes.
Resolution increasing appropriations for various non-general fund accounts.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Pletcher.
Yes.
Resolution transferring cash and appropriations within various general and non-general fund accounts.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Pletcher.
Yes. With the conclusion of resolutions, it's time for departmental reports, starting with utilities.
No for today.
Thank you. Job and Family Services.
Thank you, Commissioner. Wanted to share with everyone that our Ohio Means Jobs Lake County staff are working hard to prepare for a spring career fair that is going to be held at the Lake County Fairgrounds on Wednesday, May 8th from 1 o'clock until 3 p.m. We're expecting to have over 25 employers at the event, so we would encourage all job seekers to plan to attend that, and if they could call for more information, 440-350-4000 and press option 3 to be connected to a staff person.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, our County Administrator, Jason Boyd.
No report, Commissioner.
Thank you. Madam Clerk.
Yes, the next regular Commissioner meeting is Thursday, May 2nd at 10 a.m.
And Legal.
No reports, Commissioner.
With the conclusion of departmental reports, it's time for old business. Any old business to come before the Board of Commissioners? Hearing none, any new business?
Mr. President,
Mr. Commissioner?
on Monday I had the chance to go out on Earth Day to the new facility in Oakwood Village, Waste Management, their recycling facility. It's state of the art, one of the only in the area, Ohio. They recycle glass, cardboard, plastic. It was very interesting to see how far it's come. They're able to run that plant now with about a third or less of the employees that they used to do the sorting, because it's not a very prestigious job, as you can imagine. But we got to tour the plant with many other officials from the state and other counties, so I was glad to see that we're making strides forward and they're able to make money without shipping it across to China. It's more locally sourced stuff that people are looking for, so it's good to see we've come a long way.
I suspect they were inspired by our clean and green competition.
It could be. I should have brought some keychains.
Very good. Any other new business?
Mr. President?
Mr. Commissioner?
I assume that this is the part where we can respond to public comment?
Absolutely.
Okay, so if I may, Mr. Massey, thank you for providing us a written copy of your presentation. If I could just, in the interest of keeping things in context regarding Lakeland Community College, the Lake County Board of Commissioners also bears some blame for this debacle. It appears the commissioners appointed the trustees and thought that their job was complete. You need to remind your appointees that they are in charge and they do not report to the president. In pertinent part, I think that bears restating. I think it's also fair to, in context, point out that the report that triggered all of this clearly states that the board was not made aware of these financial difficulties and challenges. That the board president resigned 2 hours before this information was to become public. The board members that we appointed were among the most active members that took action and began uncovering these irregularities. I think I can say this with a high degree of confidence, and I dare say credibility, as I have been a strong supporter of Lakeland Community College, and I continue to be a strong supporter. They have problems, and they are taking charge and correcting them. When I say they, the board and the new administration coming in, the frustration that I share is that you can't fix things overnight. When information is being concealed, withheld, that's a problem. People need to be held accountable. They can't just empty out their offices and run and not have anything there. I personally was able to bear witness not too many weeks ago to the ribbon cutting, if you will, for the groundbreaking of the engineering building's refit and expansion. Our own Grace Gallucci of NOACA, the Northeast Ohio Area-Wide Coordinating Agency, was present, and she was pushed to the side, as was I. The reason I bring this up, they enjoyed a $4.2 million grant that they would not have otherwise been eligible for were it not for the efforts of NOACA. And quite frankly, I'm not real good at tooting my own horn, but I'll say it because of my leadership in getting a SEDS in place, which is qualifying several bodies to be able to enjoy federal dollars that we would otherwise not be eligible for. On that same day, an attack was launched against me as some kind of a whack job, liberal, woke, whatever, and NOACA as being some evil imperialistic organization. There are a number of people who need to be held accountable, sir. This board strives to put quality people in positions of trust and authority. I'll give you one more example. The Lake Tran board, they did the courageous thing by rescinding or suspending, more correctly, the collection of their 1/4% sales tax, which will be a direct benefit to the people of Lake County. They saw a surplus, they saw a need, they saw an opportunity. They also saw that grant dollars were coming in that were going to more than replace those tax dollars that were being collected. Grant dollars that were also funneling through NOACA, an organization which I was proud to say I did serve as president 2 consecutive years. More money is being brought to Lake County because of efforts that are going unseen and unspoken. I do have a certain frustration and I hope you can hear it in my voice when I'm being accused of being part of the problem, when I'm part of the solution. And I say that extending to my colleagues also, being part of the solution. We're not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but there are good things that are taking place. We do try to appoint good quality people whenever, wherever possible. So I apologize for my just taking this moment to vent, but the reality is I want to make sure the record is clear. There are many pieces of this puzzle that are not being disclosed. And I think the public has a right to know there are a lot of good things going on behind the scenes that no one will ever hear about. I just wanted to give you a couple of examples of that. Thank you, Mr. President, for your indulgence.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. I would only add in the same spirit with respect to Mr. Gilbert's comments. I certainly feel strongly, and I'm very confident that the whole board agrees that property taxes have gotten out of control collectively, and we want to do everything we possibly can. It's important to note, just so residents understand, that Lake County already does more than most counties in terms of reducing property taxes. Of the 2.1 inside mills that Lake County is entitled to collect under state law, we only collect 1. We collect less than half. Other counties that have made minor reductions have not come close to giving up more than half their property taxes, as Lake County has voluntarily done and does so every single year. Any given year, the commissioners could take that full amount, haven't done it, won't do it. If and to the extent that when all the bills are paid, if and to the extent when we finally know what our capital cost is going to be for the jail project, which is going to be the major lift for the county, not just now, but really for the next 30 years, it'll be our biggest payment for capital. Once we know what that is, we know, is there surplus? Is there a deficit? Are we breaking even? We are not allowed to run at a deficit. We would be irresponsible to give money back and then take it back the next year. We need to know exactly where we're at. And I know that Mr. Boyd is working hard to get us to that guaranteed maximum price so that we have an understanding of what our budget is going to look like for the foreseeable future. I know that our state reps and senators are working hard to see if they can get some additional monies for Lake County in that jail project so that we may have more wiggle room going forward. But those are question marks. Those are X unknown values at this point, and I know that you would want us to be responsible and not make a promise that we can't keep. But if it does turn out that Lake County has extra money or surplus, I would be the happiest person in the room to be able to return something to the taxpayer. Even so, I have to give this footnote. Even if Lake County wiped out all the property taxes it collected, we're less than 1.5% of your bill. So if by some miracle we were to come into so much money that we were able to collect 0 property tax, the average resident wouldn't even notice if the county completely cut it back. So I don't want to sit here and pretend that we can be a bulwark against the entire tax increase that is going to come from revaluation under state law. The county doesn't have that kind of power. That said, we are working very hard with our state reps and senators to get additional aid for the county, to encourage them to roll back property taxes. I've said myself many times that I sincerely believe a first and a modest reform should be that anyone who is 65 years of age or older should pay no property taxes whatsoever. I know that's not enough, but I think that's a good starting point, and I've yet to hear a principled argument against it other than we need the money, grumble, grumble, grumble. I've heard that. I won't name names, but I've heard that. But you know what? We don't need the money as much as we need to respect our seniors and folks who have paid the bills for 65 years for a lifetime. So I sincerely hope that our state legislature is sincere about reforming property taxes. I know they formed a committee. I'm not a huge believer in that, but I'm hoping that committee is a good starting point where good things will come. And in the meanwhile, we're doing everything we can. But I would be remiss if I didn't say, number one, the county doesn't know where we are at budgetarily until that jail is set and paid for. And we also don't know where we're at until we know if we're getting any help for that project. So we need to resolve those question marks to know, do we have any extra capacity? And then I have to humbly admit that even if we do, even if the county collected no property tax, it would not be near enough that the average resident would even notice the difference on their bill. We need to do better than a 1.5% reduction on people's property taxes when we're looking at a 30% revaluation and potentially 15% increases in actual tax bills. Now, once again, these are all estimates and guesstimates. I'm not here to tell you what your individual bill will be. My last revaluation, I went up 56%. So I can't speak to anyone's individual bill, but I just wanted to sincerely share that with you, Leonard. We do care, and it's not something we aren't thinking about every day. Any other new business?
Mr. President, if I could
Mr.
just
Commissioner?
follow on to what you said, sir. I appreciate your sentiments regarding aspirational tax reform, but as we all well know, I'm a big applied science guy, so let's talk about achievable tax reform. We as a taxing authority can talk to other taxing authorities and lead by example and encourage them to just say no to any windfalls. There are going to be hardships associated with this 30+% reevaluation coming. Taxing authorities have the ability to just say no. I've said this before, I'm saying it now, and I will continue to say it in the future. We have the ability to be the tip of the spear. We have the ability to lead. So I hope that that stays on our hearts and in the front of our minds as we go forward. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Any other new business? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn into executive session for the purpose of discussing real estate disposition. No business will be conducted after that session.
I'll make the motion.
Second, sir.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Commissioner Regovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Plechnik.
We stand adjourned.